it's Jennie Wolek with the Wolek Group, Keller Realty. Tulsa looks good on you. Tulsa looks so great on Jahan with FEI Inspection Services. Jahan, you've been a great partner in our business for so many years and helping our clients through the process of picking a home and the making sure that it's in good condition. And so I just wanted to pick your brain a bit on whether somebody is buying a home or they're a current homeowner. What are some of the things you hear as a structural engineer that people need to understand or know a little bit more about?
All right. So yes, that's a great question. So one of the biggest concerns people have, especially when buying a house, is just why are there cracks on the walls of my house? So other parts of the country, houses will rarely crack. That is not the case here. Almost every house in Northeast Oklahoma, there are going to be some cracks on it. So even brand new houses, it's not uncommon at all for there to be some cracking. And what we have is we have soil that moves around a lot. So if you think of soil as all kind of a mix of sand and clay, sand, water can just pass right through it. There's not really a big effect. Clay will absorb a lot of that water and expand. It can lose a lot of that water and contract. And we have a pretty distinct, lots of rain in the spring, so that soil will expand. We have hot, dry summers, so then the soil contracts. The fall, we get some rain again, it'll expand again. So just think of it as year round. The soil is moving up and down, and the house is just going along for the ride. So that's really what causes, the cracks in houses. We look at a couple thousand houses a year, and maybe 2 to 3 of those will not have any cracks on those. And those are usually, newly finished, brand new houses. So what we do is we go through and we look at all the cracks and say, hey, this is normal Northeast Oklahoma type movement, or we will say, hey, this indicates a structural deficiency, meaning there's a little bit more going on here and it needs some sort of repair. And then we'll tell you, exactly how to repair it, what it needs, all that. But that kind of gets back to, the main 2 questions we get is, one is, why are there cracks? And the answer would be because of the, soil we have here in Northeast Oklahoma moves around a lot and the house just goes along for the ride. And then 2 would be, how do I know if those cracks are problematic or not? And if you can imagine, we have houses that are 100 years old. We have houses that are, months old. And it's kind of just a whole different, spectrum for those, because a crack that might indicate problems on a house that's, a year old is going to be drastically different than a house that, a crack on a 100-year-old house that might say, hey, it's been here for 100 years. If this is all that it's moved in that time, that's great. So it is kind of a sliding spectrum. But what I tell people, if you have any concerns, we can always come look at it, or you can even just take a picture of it and send it to us, and we can say, hey, that's totally normal, or, that is not normal. We think you should have somebody come out and take a look at it. So.
Yeah, so I've been in the business for 22 years, so I have definitely been heard a lot of those same concerns. And as a real estate agent, I'm not an expert. You are actually a licensed structural engineer. So what's the difference between just a normal home inspector and an engineer?
All right. Well, let me preface this by saying I'm biased. I am a licensed engineer. So for us to get our license, we have to have a undergraduate degree in engineering, which both the engineers, myself and my father, have at our company. We both also have master's degrees in structural engineering. And then you have to go work for, 4 years, and then you take another test, and that's when you get what's called your PE license. And my dad has his PE license. I have my PE license. I also have my SE license, which is a whole other, process of scrutiny and testing and work experience and all that. So to get to the point where we can sign and stamp something as a professional engineer, in his case, or a structural engineer in my case, there's a lot of education, a lot of work, a lot of, testing that goes into it. So the other thing I would get at is our company, we've looked at 55,000 houses. We've been in business since the 80s. He started the company. I started in 2008. So we do have quite a bit of experience, and along with that comes a lot of history on houses in Tulsa. So when we come to an inspection, all that education, all that experience, all that testing, is the background we bring. So we tend to say, okay, we are the experts here. General home inspectors, there are some out there that do a great job. There are quite a few that will just say, do not do a great job. And even some of the better ones, what they will typically say is if they feel like a house has structural problems, they will say, we think it's a concern. You need to hire an engineer to tell you exactly what to do about it. So it's kind of with them, we'll say it's a two-step process. With us, we will kind of say, hey, you pay us once, you don't pay somebody else to do a structural inspection, then turn around and pay us to do a structural inspection a second time. And it's, not a two-step process. We come out, we do our inspection, we know, exactly what it needs. So like I said, there are some great general home inspectors. There are also some not so great general home inspectors. But what we do is we kind of try to streamline the process and just bring out the experts to begin with. And that's just not on the structural side. Same thing with roof inspections. A lot of roof inspectors will say, hey, we saw a few things that we're concerned about. You need to get a roofer to look at it. Well, we will just bring out a roofer. Termite inspections, we bring out, licensed termite people that can do the treatments and all that. And then on the electrical, mechanical, plumbing side, they're not, licensed to do any. So we don't bring out licensed plumbers, electricians, and heat and air people because that can tend to get a little weird. But our E&P inspectors, the ones we use, have been doing it for a very long time. They know exactly what they're doing, exactly what they're looking for. So, like I said, the general home inspectors, some are great. We tend to be a little more experienced, a little more, just, hey, we'll get it all done at once and let you guys know exactly what you need. So,
well, I'd imagine it's a little bit like we see in our business too. You get what you pay for, and the experience really matters. In all of my years in real estate, and specifically when it comes to structural defects, and there are solutions to fixing a home that has some cracks that might be a little bit more extreme. And we used to always tease, like, if it doesn't have piers, it will eventually. It's kind of like termites in Oklahoma. So it's not a bad thing necessarily. And typically you're going to have some warranties behind any work that's been done. I'm sure you and your dad have been in most of the houses in Tulsa at this point.
I believe so. Yes, we've been in a lot of them.
Well, any other final words or information, really, not just for a first-time home buyer or somebody buying, but just the homeowners in general, like if they are having some structural concerns or questions, because your inspection also deals with drainage and the exterior of the home as well. So what are some things they can do just on their own to investigate? And then when would be the right time to bring you in for questions?
Right. So a couple things that I would say are very important. At the beginning, we discussed the soil kind of moves in relation to how much water it has in the soil. So trying to keep the moisture level around your house as consistent as possible will go a long way. So that can be, if you get when it rains, if there's big puddles at one corner of the house, that can kind of be a cause that can result in, hey, the house at that corner is going to move differently than the rest of the house, and that can create some structural damage. So I would say minimize pooling around your house. Sometimes that can be just a little bit of regrading. Sometimes it needs a drainage system. Gutters will go a long way as far as managing that. So what you're trying to do is not let any part of the soil get excessively wet. Also in the hot, dry summer, watering will go a long way, keeping some moisture in the soil. And you're kind of fighting a losing battle there. Like this summer, for example, when the soil dries out and it's 105 degrees, running a sprinkler that dumps half an inch of water on the soil is not going to keep that all saturated. But what I tell people is if it's marginal, it can keep you on the right side of marginal. So yes, trying to maintain as constant of a moisture level in the soil around your home as possible. That will go a long way. And then also I just tell people every 6 months, take a walk around your house, really key in on new cracks, cracks that have enlarged, cracks that have been patched, that have since reopened. Because a lot of structural problems are, it can be small problems if you catch it early. If you don't catch it early, things can just get worse and worse and worse, and those problems could get more and more expensive. So it's kind of if you can catch things early and nip it in the bud, that will go a long way as opposed to letting it go for 4 or 5 years and all of a sudden, having to do a whole lot of work on half of your house. So
which can be painful. So, well,
yeah.
I sure appreciate you and being a great partner in our business and helping our clients through the buying process. So how can people best find you guys?
The easiest way, so just go to our website, www.feiinspections.com. We have a Facebook page that we will post on every once in a while. We're not too responsive to that. Or the best thing you can do is just call our office, 918-665-2593. You could talk to Melinda. She has been there since the 80s. So she knows everything about the business, and we would be lost without her. So
yeah, we love working with Melinda, and we appreciate you guys. So have a great day.
Thank you very much. And yes, if there are any questions from anybody, feel free to contact us.
Awesome. Thanks, Jahan. We'll see you later.
Right. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.